All right, game number 3. Looks like, Beky, you are going to be on the play this time.
Most definitely. Anytime you can, especially as an aggro deck, you want to be on the play, especially when your turn 1 play is as sweet as Swamp into Cryptbreaker.
Yes. Oh, interesting. It looks like we've got the Censors still in the deck. I happen to see one in Justin's hand here. Seems a little bit odd. Granted, so many of the things in your deck are so cheap, and you're probably... I could see him, she's not playing that many lands, I'm probably going to be able to censor something, but I just feel like you always have mana up to be able to pay for it. It seems like a weird inclusion to keep in.
I kind of would keep it in, because, like, especially if I go to turn 5 and I'm slamming down that Liliana's Mastery as soon as possible, if you can censor something like that, that feels really bad for me to be against. Yeah,
okay, I can see it. Oh, it looks like we've got Magma Spray, no, not Magma Spray, Fiery Temper.
Fiery Temper to head.
Fiery Temper. Man, that feels so good, just having a free discard outlet and being able to kill whatever, but, oh well.
Playing the Diregraf Colossus and pass.
Not having the mana to be able to do it. I think you just have to snap off the Diregraf Colossus just feels so good in this deck. Like, it gets so much value.
Yeah, exactly. It's good regardless of whether you play it as just a 2/2 that you're hoping to keep in play and make more zombies, or if you do happen to have some zombies in the graveyard, it feels great too. And even then, like, paying 3 for a 2/2 that does all the things that it does definitely doesn't feel bad.
Yes.
I think at this point he did cycle the Censor.
I think he discarded the Censor. Discarded the Censor to
right.
Yes. Okay, so double discard to make the snake a 4/4.
Yes.
And then Sweltering Suns to get rid of the board.
I remember him saying, like, this feels so bad too, because, like, I saw him discard the Censor and I was like, yes. I saw him discard the Fiery Temper, I was perplexed, but also, like, happy that he would do something like that, and then the Sweltering Suns.
And then you just get to follow it up with a 5/5.
With a 5/5, yep.
Sure.
That's one of the things about Diregraf Colossus that I think makes it so strong. You're punishing your opponent for killing your creatures, and when you're playing against an aggro deck, you do want to kill their creatures. And so it feels really bad to have a creature like Diregraf Colossus be on your opponent's side.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm also really excited to see Combat Celebrant. Combat Celebrant, since it was spoiled, has been a creature that I've been really excited about. I don't really see, like, how great it, like, was in this deck. I kind of expected it to be, I don't know, I would have put in something different. It feels kind of awkward to try and give yourself more combats, especially when all you have on the field is a Noose Constrictor.
Yeah. I mean, if it's the only creature that you've got, well, you know, you got to play something. But I can see where Justin was kind of going with the idea of the deck, but it seems overall like it is possibly a miss. I feel like you just want to be able to hit in, like, with that big creature, maybe make it unblockable. I guess it's cool to be able to get multiple combats with your big Ronus, or even with Hazoret, but I don't know. I feel like there's other spots or other creatures that you could probably slot in that spot.
And I can't imagine being him and Sweltering Suns me destroying 3 creatures, and then in the next 2 turns I go up to 5 creatures.
Yeah, this is I feel like the power of the various zombies deck, but I mean also I guess by extension, of course, the white-black zombies deck.
Yeah, exactly.
But just, oh, here you go, you raft me, and then 2 turns later, all right, cool, 5 zombies able to block your entire team.
I don't know that I agree with his attack here either. He attacks and exerts with the Combat Celebrant, which is something, it's got 1 power, I've got 1 untapped zombie, I don't mind blocking. I don't even take very much damage, and then his additional combat I don't feel like is used to the best of his ability.
Yeah, he doesn't even... It's almost like attacking is bad.
Yeah, exactly. Combat Celebrant I feel like is only good if you're playing against a control deck, you resolve Combat Celebrant, and you're getting to use that extra combat in an advantageous way where your opponent's just going to sit there and say, okay, I don't have any creatures. And now he's just trying to pump up his Noose Constrictor as much as possible, get as much value out of his extra combat as possible. And he Sweltering Suns me, kills my other things, but they were just a token and a Dread Wanderer that I'm going to get back.
We're seeing a very similar play pattern. I don't know if it's good. It probably doesn't really feel good, as you said that Justin said during the games, but discarding a bunch of cards and then Sweltering Sun, I don't know, it just feels like the recursive elements of the zombies, it's not really where you want to be.
Yeah, exactly. And then here, I think I go down to 1 card in hand, play a Mastery, get some zombies back, just keep rebuilding my board.
Sure, and attack for 6.
Exactly. And to be honest, like, I've had games where my opponents have played Sweltering Suns, and it's been backbreaking. If it kills and you don't have the correct things in your hand to rebuild exactly afterwards, it does hurt. It's not an awful card just because it doesn't exile everything.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely, like, still worth playing in the matchup because it does slow me down quite a bit. But my ability to just play as many things as possible and try to do as much.
So what are you scared of more, a Sweltering Suns because it is does 3 damage, or a what is the one that -2/-2 in exiles?
Flaying Tendrils.
Yes, Flaying Tendrils. Which one's more terrifying? Or is it, I don't know if terrifying is the right word, but
I would honestly say Sweltering Suns. Sweltering Suns is able to hit all of my zombies after a Liliana's Mastery.
okay.
And still kill them, and they're tokens. They're not something that I can, like, bring back from the graveyard, unlike Dread Wanderer that I can bring back. That, and I feel like Sweltering Suns is a little bit easier to cast. At this point, I have so many zombies, he just scoops it up. He can't.
It looks like his hand was a little bit more reactive than was ideal.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a little bit unfortunate, I guess, for him, not so much for you. It's pretty exciting.
Nah, it was pretty exciting for me to go 3-0 at this point. So.
Yeah, definitely. I can't help but think that maybe there was some room for maybe a little bit more refining of the deck list. I feel like that the blue was a little bit misplaced, and maybe it messed up his mana base a little bit more than needed to be.
I would say so too. And I did play against another red-green Gods deck later in the weekend in another PPTQ, and their red-green version was actually Naya.
Oh, okay.
So it played white and played Declaration in Stone.
Main deck.
Which
Okay.
ended up being very difficult for me to deal with. Like, you Declaration Stone all of my tokens, like, especially if at that point I can have as many lords as I want, and Declaration Stone will still clear all of my zombies. Not to mention that it's 2 mana for an exile, which is going to be value pretty much anytime.
That makes sense. It also feels like that might be, so for the blue splash, if you will, besides... we won't even necessarily talk about the new Nissa, but Censor, I feel like you want your blue early, whereas that's kind of taking you off the red-green whole, like, I'm going to make a couple really big dudes and just attack with them. It kind of takes you off your game plan in that way, because you have to construct your mana base to also have blue really early. Exactly. Whereas with white for Declaration of Stone, you're like, it could be turn 6, and if I rip a deck in Stone, I'm like... Boom, that's great, because like I get to exile all of your zombies because they all have all of the tokens because they all have the same name.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I'm still I kind of like where the deck is going, and it feels like there's the possibility that can be incredibly powerful.
I have seen it be incredibly powerful. I think it is definitely going to be kind of like a deck to watch. It's very versatile. I like all the creatures that are going into it. I think, and I like that there's a little bit of room. Like, I've seen the blue splash, I've seen a white splash. I think it's fun to see people taking some liberties with decks and trying to do their own thing and whatever they think will work better. Yeah.
Well, I guess maybe not too many liberties, considering like you want to win with zombies, right?
Exactly. You're right. So keep maybe doing the blue and not the white.
Yeah, just play like 4 or 5 colors and do whatever, dirtle
too
much, and I'm just gonna attack you.
Exactly. Yeah. If I can just win as much as possible, that feels good.
I like that. Well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna see you in match 4.
Yep. Sounds good.